They're off into tonight's debate. And in sports, Ohio football's head coach just made MAC history. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Taylor Brock. Thanks for joining us. Right now, if you go to popular short-term rental sites like Airbnb or Vrbo, there's no problem renting a place in the city of Athens. But officially, those places are supposed to be owner-occupied bed and breakfast businesses. City Council now wants to change who can host a short-term rental and where that rental is allowed to be in Athens. Last night, community members shared their opinions with the Planning Commission at a public hearing. Some residents voiced support of a change that would restrict who was allowed to offer their space as a rental. But the proposal to rezone strictly residential areas to allow more rentals received criticism.
They who have families, children, expressed concern because currently these neighborhoods are communities. People know their neighbors, even if they're long-term renters. And they're very concerned about having strangers come in, strangers for short term, people who don't have stake in the area.
Others are concerned that allowing more short-term rentals will decrease property values. 3 men indicted on charges related to the death of Colin Wyatt in November 2018 appeared before Judge Patrick Lang for arraignment Wednesday morning. James Wanke, Dominic Figliola, and Saxon Engel Perez all pleaded not guilty to their charges. The men were 3 of 9 indicted for Wyatt's death. James Wanke, the owner of Silver Serpent Exotic Gifts, pleaded not guilty to charges of involuntary manslaughter, a first-degree felony, 2 counts of trafficking and harmful intoxicants, a 5th-degree felony, involuntary manslaughter, a 3rd-degree felony, and improperly dispensing or distributing nitrous oxide, a 4th-degree misdemeanor. Wanke is currently not enrolled at Ohio University. His jury trial is set for January 28, 2020. Dominic Figliola of Athens pleaded not guilty to charges of drug abuse, a 5th-degree felony, hazing, a 4th-degree misdemeanor, aggravated trafficking in drugs, a felony of the 4th degree, and failure to comply with underage alcohol laws, an unclassified misdemeanor. Figliola is not currently enrolled at Ohio University, and his jury trial is scheduled for January 28, 2020. Saxon Engel Perez of Columbus pleaded not guilty to permitting drug abuse, a 5th-degree felony, hazing, a 4th-degree misdemeanor, and trafficking in cocaine, a 5th-degree felony. Engel Perez is currently enrolled at Ohio University and has been a student since fall 2016. His jury trial is scheduled for January 30th, 2020. Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion Dr. Gigi Sakubin announces Ohio University's LGBTQ Center's director finalists. As part of the interview process, the university community will have an opportunity to interact with the candidates during open forums where they will deliver a brief presentation and answer questions from students, faculty, and staff. Today's open forum was for candidate Micah Carey. The next forum will be for candidate Nicholas Franco on Thursday, November 21st from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. on 31 South Court Street, room 006. This Friday, an open forum for Kerr Mesner will be from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at the same location. Now to West Virginia, where the state faces many problems when it comes to their child protective services. A legislative audit released Tuesday on the State Department of Health and Human Resources states the department cannot show it performed background checks on its new child protective workers and that it wasn't doing checks on existing employees. The agency also doesn't have a way to keep track of the license status of its workers. Businesses in West Virginia looking to get involved in the marijuana market will be able to apply for permits soon. Applications for growers, processors, dispensaries, and laboratories will become available online starting December 19th, according to the State Bureau of Public Health. Applications are due by February of 2020. The medical marijuana program was meant to launch in July, but didn't due to delays with the state's treasurer. A Guernsey County woman will appear in court Friday to face multiple felonies relating to the rape of a 3-year-old female. 45-year-old Melanie Young will appear at the Guernsey County Common Pleas Court for pretrial. The Zanesville Times recorder reports she faces 18 counts of illegal use of minor or impaired person in nudity-oriented material or performance with a human trafficking specification, 6 counts of rapes, 2 counts of attempted rape, and kidnapping with human trafficking and sexual motivation specifications. If convicted, she will face life in prison. The charges stem from a complaint filed by the mother of a 3-year-old female. The Logan County, Ohio mom who smothered her 3 young sons pleaded guilty on Tuesday. 27-year-old Brittany Pilkington was sentenced to 37 years to life. She pleaded guilty to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of murder as part of a plea deal.
Hello, I'm forecaster Adlai Carwish here, and right now 45 degrees outside, humidity at 63%, pressure at 30.24 inches, and it's looking, and today was a pretty nice day outside. We got into the 50s, which isn't bad for this time of year. Winds turn from the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. We take a look all the way right now in southeastern Ohio. You see Columbus at 47, Chillicothe at 45, Jackson at 46, and Ripley at 47, so all around in the upper to mid 40s. Taking a look at tonight, 34 degrees, cool fall night. Cool fall night, you'll start to see some more cloud cover overnight as we see winds coming from the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. You take a look all through southeastern Ohio for tomorrow. Lexington at 55, Athens at 55, and Taylor, let me tell you, it's been a couple good days outside so far, and tomorrow looks pretty well. We're going to get to a high of 56, but coming up in the weekend, it's not going to look so good. We might have some rain in the forecast.
You know what? I really like the warm weather. Rain is no fun, but at least there's no snow yet, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Adlai. A group of Ohio teenagers saw the culmination of an important project Monday. They placed a marker honoring the long-forgotten graves of African Americans in their town. The students discovered the presence of the forgotten graves themselves as part of a class project. Frank Wiley has the story.
Assignment in an 8th grade history class.
A lot of times people think of, especially kids, think of history as that's a subject in school and it's what you learn about.
This topic, African Americans of North Olmsted.
And all of a sudden it was coming to life and it was like, wow, this is happening. This happened here and we want to do something about it.
Debbie Haleko and another teacher spent hours uncovering records for their students to dig through.
And we brought the stuff here and they were working like real historians.
Along the way, these kids made a discovery.
It was very surprising and it shocked me because I didn't think that this was still around.
Rufel Al-Shagurki, Cameron Swanson, and Maya El-Khatib handed their teacher a relic.
It was a handwritten map of the cemetery and it just said, occupied by colored people, no stones.
A cemetery 1 mile from their school, holding a sad secret.
I just think that's kind of rude, disrespectful.
They got the mayor involved, and they visited the cemetery, stunned yet again by what they'd found.
We go to this little section by this big tree, and there's just big space right there.
At first, they didn't see it.
We actually walked past it because we didn't realize that that's how anyone could have passed away and they could have dug up that space.
So low-key, you could walk right by.
It's really sad because you'd think it's 2019, everything would be figured out, but no.
African American folks who likely never knew equality in their lifetimes, or even in death.
They passed away not knowing if they were going to get recognition of them stepping on earth.
These kids decided to do something about it.
The original plan was to put a sign up just noting this, and they were happy with that.
A local business wanted to do better, donating a granite stone.
And I'm like, wait, like a stone, like the stone that cost thousands and thousands of dollars, that's happening.
These kids giving life to our future by exposing the past.
The donated stone placed by the students reads, "In memory of the Peak and Cousins families, some of the first African American settlers in this area, no longer forgotten, may they rest in peace." Today is day 4 of public impeachment hearings. Another witness isn't holding back what he knows about the call between President Trump and Ukraine's president. Plus, 10 Democratic presidential candidates take the debate stage tonight in Georgia. How a new film studio will play a major role when Newswatch returns.
The news broadcasts a violent world.
But we may be living in the most peaceful era in human existence.
An investigation of archaeology to neuroscience, Baltimore to Iraq. Can science help reduce violence?
Here are things that we could do.
We're really testing in the field.
The Violence Paradox.
We're at war with ourselves.
On Nova.
Word came to me late one night that a young woman was very ill. I started early next morning, the mercury down to 20 degrees below zero, and rode 6 miles to her house.
Meet the first Native American doctor and the women who follow in her footsteps.
Prison is here to punish us. It's not about rehabilitating. It just isn't.
This is a full-time, total commitment. When that door closes, you're at Bard College.
It's hard, it's difficult, but it's rewarding.
I gotta prove that I'm worthy of this.
They're trying to pay back to society.
It changes your whole outlook.
I realized I learned something. That is where transformation happens. That is what stops people from coming back to prison.
Being a bear takes a wide array of abilities to overcome life's obstacles. From finding food to raising a family. But bears have also found a way into our world. And with the next generation learning by example, their contact with us could be their biggest hurdle yet.
Welcome back. Dramatic testimony on Capitol Hill. U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, testified before the House Intelligence Committee in the latest public impeachment hearing. Camila Bernal has the latest.
A witness who both Republicans and Democrats say helps their case.
I was acting in good faith. As a presidential appointee, I followed the directions of the president.
Gordon Sondland, U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, testifying that there was a quid pro quo for Ukraine to announce investigations into President Trump's political opponents.
Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing the investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States.
The ambassador also saying the Vice President, the Secretary of State, and other top White House officials were all in the loop on what was going on with regards to Ukraine.
Today's testimony is among the most significant evidence to date.
Republicans, meanwhile, highlighting what Sondland repeatedly told the committee, that Trump never told him directly that security assistance was tied to the announcement of investigations.
And he just said, I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo.
President echoing this from the White House lawn.
I want nothing. That's what I want from Ukraine. That's what I said.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
We will update you as hearings surrounding the impeachment inquiry continue. Tyler Perry just opened his new Atlanta film studio, and it's already playing a major role in national politics. The studio will host the large field of Democratic presidential candidates for tonight's presidential primary debate. As Richard Elliott reports, getting the studio ready to take center stage was not an easy feat.
Walked into the Tyler Perry Studio soundstage, the one named after Oprah Winfrey, and saw the stage where 10 Democratic presidential candidates will square off Wednesday night.
So I did what I knew to do, and that was to be a cheerleader for Atlanta.
Just 2 hours earlier, we sat down with Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. She told me how hard she worked to get the debate in Atlanta and not in the suburbs. And she believes this signals that Georgia will be one of the key battleground states in 2020.
I think it means that Georgia is in play. I think this confirms it, that we've long said Georgia is a battleground state.
Mayor Bottoms will be one of 1,000 guests here at the Tyler Perry Studios. That's the stage where it will all happen. There'll also be more than 500 media members here from all over the world. Rashida Jones is one of the people in charge of making this debate and other debates happen. She said it was quite an effort turning an empty soundstage into a presidential debate forum.
And when we walked in and you just kind of see nothing, and in your head you know where it's going to go, but to be able to see how it came to life is just unbelievably amazing. We have almost 300 staff members here who helped build this all out.
While most will only see the candidates on stage during the debate layout will feature a lot more than just a stage. It is actually so big it will occupy 3 of 12 sound stages at the studio. Keep your eyes on the sky. Shooting stars are expected to light up the night tomorrow. That story still ahead.
And coming up next, we've had a nice couple of days here, but there is some rain in the forecast. I'll talk about it now. Here's a look at your spots of local interest.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
We have a responsibility to let people know the truth.
I want everything. Dirt, okay? I'm all about story.
I get chills reading Vivaldi's handwriting. This is Liszt's piano.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/watch Passport and find out how you can start streaming today.
Prison is here to punish us. It's not about rehabilitating. It just isn't.
This is a full-time, total commitment. When that door closes, you're at Bard College.
It's harder, it's difficult, but it's rewarding.
I gotta prove that I'm worthy of this.
They're trying to pay back to society.
It changes your whole outlook.
I realized I learned something. That is where transformation happens. That is what stops people from coming back to prison.
The news broadcasts a violent world.
But we may be living in the most peaceful era in human existence.
An investigation of archaeology to neuroscience, Baltimore to Iraq. Can science help reduce violence? Here are things that we could do.
We're really testing in the field.
The violence paradox.
We're at war with ourselves.
On Nova.
Word came to me late one night that a young woman was very ill. I started early next morning, the mercury down to 20 degrees below zero, and rode 6 miles to her house.
Meet the first Native American doctor and the women who follow in her footsteps.
Hello, I'm forecaster Adlai Karwish here, and today we had a pretty nice day outside. Right now, 45 degrees, a little bit cooler. It was in the 50s during the middle of the day. Humidity at 63%, pressure at 30.24. Winds come from the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Take a look right now at all over southeastern Ohio. You can see Chillicothe at 45, Jackson at 46, Columbus at 47, New Lexington at 45. So all around somewhere between the upper and mid 40s. For today, for right now at least. You take a look at the U.S. temp map. You can see all around this area we seem to be in a pretty warm spot. You can see some cold little pockets here and there. We'll talk about later as there is a warm front going through which should provide some warmer weather followed by a cold front. So it is a low pressure system. Tonight 34 degrees. It's going to be a cool fall night. It's going to be clear starting at first and then we'll turn into an overcast overnight. Winds coming from the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Taking a look now at tonight, Chillicothe at 36, Columbus at 37, Jackson at 35, Ripley at 35, so all around in the mid to lower 30s. Taking a look at tomorrow, 56 degrees. It's going to be a cloudy, warmer day. High winds are possible. Winds coming from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Shouldn't be very much rain, if at all. 56 degrees is the high. Taking a look at all southeastern Ohio. Columbus, the only one not to be in the 50s at 49, and Ripley seems to be the only one in the 60s, hitting 60 tomorrow. New Lexington at 55 and Chillicothe at 57, so all around somewhere between 50 and 60 degrees for the area. Tomorrow, 43 degrees. It's going to be cloudy early, but then we're going to get some light rain after midnight. Not too much rain. Still a little windy though. Winds come from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. so it's not too bad. You can take a look here. You can see this low pressure system moving through. It's going to push through here, and you're going to see that cold front move through. That's going to provide some rain for both tomorrow and the day after on Saturday, or Friday, excuse me. And you're going to see that move through for tomorrow night. That's going to provide some rain. And let's take a look at your 7-day outlook here. Thursday and Friday looking pretty good. Friday we said 47 degrees, mostly some rain. Saturday 46 degrees. You might get some early freezing rain early Saturday morning. 46 degrees is the high. 30 degrees is the low. Sunday's looking pretty nice. Same with Monday. Both 46 and 51 degrees respectively. Once you hit Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when the rain starts to move back in. So you only get a couple clear days there before you start with the week. And Taylor, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Adley. Scientists are predicting a rare meteor outburst this week that may be brief but incredibly intense. Following the Leonid shower this past weekend, a brilliant flurry in the sky near the Unicorn constellation is expected Thursday night over the eastern half of North America and all of South America. The action should unfold early Friday morning over the western portions of Europe and Africa. Hundreds of shooting stars may be visible as Earth plows through the dusty tail of an unidentified comet.
Ohio football head coach Frank Solich made history last night. Highlights of Ohio's blowout win over Bowling Green and more when Newswatch returns.
Being a bear takes a wide array of abilities to overcome life's obstacles. From finding food to raising a family. But bears have also found a way into our world. And with the next generation learning by example, their contact with us could be their biggest hurdle yet.
Prison is here to punish us. It's not about rehabilitating. It just isn't.
This is a full-time, total commitment. When that door closes, you're at Bard College.
It's hard, it's difficult, but it's rewarding. I gotta prove that I'm worthy of this.
They're trying to pay back to society.
It changes your whole outlook.
I realized I learned something. That is where transformation happens. That is what stops people from coming back to prison.
Word came to me late one night that a young woman was very ill. I started early next morning, the mercury down to 20 degrees below zero, and rode 6 miles to her house.
Meet the first Native American doctor and the women who follow in her footsteps.
The news broadcasts a violent world.
But we may be living in the most peaceful era in human existence.
An investigation of archaeology to neuroscience, Baltimore to Iraq. Can science help reduce violence? Here are things that we could do.
We're really testing in the field.
The Violence Paradox.
We're at war with ourselves.
On Nova.
Welcome back. I'm Dylan Thompson. Ohio's Frank Solich became the all-time winningest coach in MAC history last night. Solich earned his 111th victory as head coach of the Bobcats against Bowling Green. With this victory, he passed Herb Dermody, as the former Central Michigan head coach had 110 career victories. This was the achievement meant to Solich, who passed him in his third attempt at the record.
Yeah, it seemed like it kind of stalled itself out a little bit there for a while, but you know, that we're interested in winning football games, and you know, this record that goes with it. You know, I feel really good about it. But a lot of people were involved in this, and a lot of great players that over the years that have come through Ohio that have set their tradition to where we were able to recruit well, win football games.
The Bobcats offense exploded for the most points in the game since 1953 in their 66-24 victory over Bowling Green. Trying to break their 3-game losing streak, the traveling Bobcats were ready to get back to their winning ways, extending their record to 5-6. Ohio's offense was firing on all cylinders last night, putting up over 600 yards with 9 touchdowns on offense and limiting the Falcons to just over 100 yards on defense in the second half. Quarterback Nathan Rourke and running back O'Shawn Allison looked unstoppable, combining for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Ohio had 7 different players score last night, averaging over 1 point per play. Rourke threw for over 10 yards per attempt, and Allison ran for nearly 15 yards per carry. The team was excited to help cement Solich's legacy by being the group that broke the record. And from now on, every game the Bobcats win carves Solich's name a little more in Ohio history.
Winning, and I know this program does as well. I'm really happy to be able to be a part of things that Coach Solich has accomplished and the milestone he hit today. We kind of knew that that they had given up some big plays, and we knew that we were capable of having those big plays. The way that our offensive line has moved teams around this year, I wasn't surprised by the big runs.
Ohio is preparing to play their second top 25 opponent tomorrow, coming after they suffered their first loss to Villanova. Ohio basketball is matching up against the Baylor Bears tomorrow at 4:30. The Bobcats have had the great start to the season with a 3-1 record. Led by young players Jason Preston and Ben Vanderplas, Ohio is looking to make a splash on the road tomorrow to get ready for conference play. Ohio then plays either Utah or Coastal Carolina in the second round.
I think the games will dictate, kind of how the minutes go, and obviously 3 games in 4 days isn't really ideal, for the roster we have right now. But we'll kind of play it by ear and see the feel of the game, the flow of the game, and see what happens.
It was awards day for the MAC volleyball players for their performances this season. Tia Jemerson won 2 awards as the junior middle blocker won MAC Player of the Year and MAC Co-Defensive Player of the Year. Vera Giacomazi won Setter of the Year for the second time in her career. She was also named to the All-MAC first team. Junior outside hitter Maggie Nadoma was also named to the first team in MAC squad during her first season with the Bobcats. Lots of individual success for the Bobcats. Let's see if they can win the MAC tournament this weekend.
Thank you, Dylan. When a Portland, Oregon man's cat disappeared 5 years ago, he lost hope of ever seeing him again. But Tuesday night at Portland International Airport, Victor Usov was returned with Sasha, his long-lost feline friend. Sasha was found at an animal shelter in Santa Fe, New Mexico, 1,200 miles away. Shelter workers say Sasha was rescued because he was microchipped. When they checked her microchip, they were surprised to see Sasha belonged to someone who lived so far away. American Airlines heard about the near catastrophe and volunteered to fly Sasha and her rescuer home. There's no explanation for how the feline got to Santa Fe or where he had been for 5 years. If you were wondering, cats without microchips are only returned to their owners about 2% of the time. According to the American Veterinary Medical Association, microchipping your cat makes it 20 times more likely for your furry friend to be found and safely returned. Now over to Adlai for a final look at the weather.
Welcome back to Mad Like Carl was here. We're taking a look at tonight. 34 degrees. It's going to be a cool fall night. We're going to have a little bit of overcast overnight as those clouds start to move in, which gives us some rain. We'll take a look at Thursday here. 56 degrees, 43. Friday, 47 degrees with a 40% chance of rain. 46 on Saturday with some rain. And Taylor, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Adlai. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Taylor Bruck. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. Make sure to tune in every Friday night on WOUB at 11:30 p.m. and make sure to keep up with all of our social media. Remember, there's nothing better